You're tired in a way that doesn't show on your face, but lives quietly in your bones. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, not the kind of tired anyone around you can easily see, the kind that settles deep inside you, the kind that lingers in your chest, in your thoughts, in the quiet moments when the world finally slows down. And that's where I want to begin, because I know something about you that most people around you probably don't realize. You've been carrying more than anyone sees. You've been holding things together in silence, trying to stay strong, trying to stay composed, trying to keep moving forward even when your spirit feels like it's asking for rest. You've been trying to map out every step ahead, trying to make sense of a future that sometimes feels foggy, uncertain, fragile. You've been attempting to build clarity out of confusion, trying to hold yourself together with nothing but sheer willpower. And if you're honest with yourself, it's taken a lot from you, more than you say out loud, more than the people around you realize, maybe even more than you allow yourself to admit. So let me tell you something that might feel strange at first, something that might feel unfamiliar, maybe even uncomfortable to hear. You don't need to know the way forward anymore, not right now, not in this moment, because the path you've been trying so hard to build with your own trembling hands is already being shaped for you, shaped by something wiser than your fears, something gentler than your worries, something far more loving than you've been toward yourself lately. You've spent so long trying to force clarity, believing that if you just pushed a little harder, thought a little longer, worried a little more, then eventually the answers would appear. But answers rarely arrive in the middle of a storm. They don't shout over chaos. They don't force their way through fear. Answers usually arrive quietly, softly, almost like a gentle knock on a closed door that you can only hear once your heart finally stops bracing for impact. And that's where you are right now, standing in a moment that life has been preparing for you. Even during the times when everything felt like confusion, even during the moments when it looked like nothing made sense, even during the nights when you questioned everything, you are not lost, even if it feels that way sometimes. You are being guided, in ways that are subtle, in ways that are patient, in ways that are deeply intentional. And I know that part of you feels guilty for wanting to put everything down for a moment. Part of you believes you should keep pushing, keep figuring things out, keep controlling every detail. But listen closely to this truth. The moment you release the pressure to know everything is the moment you give God space to reveal what comes next. You don't need to pretend you're strong right now. You don't need to hold every broken piece perfectly in place. You don't need to keep proving that you're capable of surviving without help. You've already done more than enough, more than most people ever realize. And the weight you feel, that quiet heaviness that sometimes wakes you in the middle of the night, comes from believing that it's your job to control things that were never meant to be controlled. There's a gentler way forward, a softer way, a wiser way, a path where you stop chasing answers and allow answers to come to you, a path where you stop forcing understanding and allow clarity to rise naturally in the quiet spaces you create when you finally rest, a path where you stop trying to illuminate the entire road ahead and instead trust the next small step that quietly glows beneath your feet. Let me tell you something that might help your chest loosen a little. You are being held right now, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but in a very real, unseen way. You are being held by a presence that sees the entire picture of your life from above the maze you're walking through, a presence that understands the paths you cannot see yet. This presence, this divine intelligence, this quiet love that has followed you through every storm, knows exactly where you are going, even when you don't, especially when you don't. And maybe you've already started feeling the pull to slow down. Maybe you've noticed how your body tightens whenever you try to force decisions that don't feel aligned. Maybe you've felt that strange ache in your spirit, that quiet sense that something is shifting, something inside you is rearranging, even though you can't fully explain it yet. All of that is guidance. All of that is life speaking to you. All of that is God whispering softly, you don't need to push anymore. Just listen. You've already done the fighting. You've done the struggling. You've done the surviving. And now comes the part that many of us find the hardest, the part where you let go. Not because you're giving up, but because surrender is one of the most courageous things a human being can do. Surrender doesn't mean weakness. It means trust. It means choosing alignment instead of chaos. It means choosing guidance instead of constant guessing. And yes, it can feel frightening. When you've lived in survival mode for so long, peace can feel unfamiliar. quiet can feel suspicious. Not knowing can feel like failure. But it's not failure. It's an invitation, a sacred one, an invitation to allow the universe to step in exactly where your exhaustion begins. Imagine, just for a moment, what it would feel like to stop carrying the weight of tomorrow, to stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios in your mind, to stop blaming yourself for not being able to predict every twist and turn life might bring. Imagine lifting your eyes and realizing something profound. You were never meant to walk this path alone. The universe is not asking you to figure out the entire future. It's asking you to stay open enough to receive what is already making its way toward you. And God is not waiting for you to have all the answers. God is waiting for the moment when you finally unclench your hands and whisper quietly, "Lead me," because that is where everything begins to shift. Not when you work harder, not when you worry more, not when you try to control every outcome, but when you soften, when you breathe, when you choose trust instead of tension, when you stop forcing life to follow your timeline and allow your timeline to align with something greater, something wiser, something infinitely more loving than fear. And if your heart is beating a little differently right now, if your chest feels warm or heavy or cracked open in some unfamiliar way, it's because part of you recognizes this truth. Part of you knows this message isn't random. Part of you has been waiting for permission to stop trying to control everything. And here it is, the reminder you couldn't give yourself. You don't need to know the entire path forward anymore. You only need to stay soft enough to be guided. And before this message ends, there is one more truth you deserve to hear. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing your moment just because you can't see the full map yet. Life was never meant to be a puzzle you solve alone. It is a quiet conversation between your soul and the divine. A conversation that unfolds slowly, one breath, one moment, one step at a time. And right now, that conversation is asking you to soften, to unclench, to release the belief that you must earn your way forward. You don't. You are guided because you exist, because you are loved, because you are part of something far greater than the fears that have been weighing on you. And there is something else you need to understand. The moments when you feel most lost are often the moments when you are closest to alignment. Confusion is not always a problem. Sometimes it is a clearing. Sometimes it is life rearranging things behind the scenes. Sometimes it is the universe gently moving pieces you cannot yet see. Sometimes it is God reshaping the path so it becomes more aligned with the person you are becoming. This in-between space may feel uncomfortable, but it is sacred. You are standing in a doorway right now, a doorway between what has ended and what is quietly beginning to rise. And transitions like this require tenderness, not pressure. This is the season where your heart learns to breathe again, slowly, honestly, without pretending, without forcing, without carrying the expectation of perfection, just allowing truth to settle gently exactly where it belongs. So before this message ends, I want you to make a promise, a quiet promise to yourself, a promise to God, a promise to the universe that has carried you this far. Write this declaration in the comments. I choose surrender. I choose guidance. I choose peace. Not as empty words, not as something you type quickly and forget a moment later, but as a quiet promise to yourself. A promise that from this moment forward, you will no longer try to carry the entire weight of life on your own shoulders. A promise that you will begin loosening the tight grip you've kept on every worry, every outcome, every unanswered question that has been circling endlessly in your mind. Because the truth is, you were never meant to hold everything together by yourself. You were never meant to solve every uncertainty before taking your next step. And sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is simply let go. Because surrender is not weakness. Surrender is the moment your soul finally exhales after holding its breath for far too long. It is the moment you stop fighting every current of life and begin allowing yourself to be carried by something wiser than fear, something deeper than control, something that understands your journey in ways your mind cannot always see. When you write those words, I choose surrender, you are telling your heart that it no longer has to struggle for control over every detail of the future. You are allowing space for life to unfold in the way it was always meant to. You are allowing room for unexpected grace, for timing that is wiser than your plans, for outcomes that may be gentler than the ones you feared. When you write, I choose guidance, You are opening yourself to the quiet signs that surround you every single day. The subtle nudges you sometimes ignore. The gentle feelings that tell you when something is right or when something is not. The moments of clarity that arrive when your mind finally becomes still. Guidance doesn't always arrive as loud answers or dramatic revelations. More often, it arrives softly, as a calm feeling in the middle of uncertainty, a quiet knowing in your chest, a gentle pull towards something that simply feels aligned, even if you can't fully explain why. It may appear through a conversation you didn't expect, through a sentence in a book, through a sudden thought that brings peace instead of confusion, or through the simple realization that you don't have to force life anymore. And when you write, "I choose peace," you are giving yourself permission to step out of the exhausting cycle of overthinking, fear, and constant pressure. You are choosing to believe something your heart has needed to hear for a long time, that your worth is not measured by how much you struggle, that your value does not come from how hard you push yourself beyond your limits. You are choosing to believe that rest is not failure, that slowing down is not falling behind, that moments of stillness are not wasted time, but sacred pauses where clarity begins to grow. Peace is not something you must earn after surviving chaos. Peace is not a reward reserved only for those who have everything figured out. Peace is something you're allowed to claim right now, right here, in this very moment, exactly as you are. And once you've written those words, once you've allowed them to settle quietly into your heart, I want you to do one more thing. Share this message with someone. Send it to a friend, a family member, someone who has been unusually quiet lately, someone who always appears strong on the outside, but maybe carrying far more than they ever show, someone whose heart might feel just as heavy as yours once did. Because sometimes the message that changes someone's day, or even their life, is the one they almost didn't see, the one they were meant to hear at exactly the right moment. Sometimes the encouragement we send out into the world finds the exact person who has been silently asking for a sign. And something truly beautiful happens when we do that. Because guidance doesn't only arrive when we receive it. Sometimes guidance arrives the moment we become the messenger, the moment we decide to pass a little light forward, the moment we choose compassion over silence. And in that quiet act of sharing, something begins to shift inside us too. Because the truth is this, the light you offer to someone else has a way of illuminating your own path. The comfort you give has a way of returning gently to your own heart. The kindness you extend has a way of echoing back into your own life. The hope you send outward has a way of circling back when you need it most. And sometimes, in the most unexpected and beautiful way, the very light you share with someone else becomes the light that gently, patiently leads you home.